Hey everyone, happy 2025. I wanted to make a quick little rant video here on the state of 3D printing and Bambu Lab and why they are continuing to dominate the 3D printing marketplace 2.5 years after they released their very first 3D printer. And it's been a full year since they released their last 3D printer, and these are still selling like crazy, and they're just absolutely all over the place. Now, there are three obvious ones that come to my mind when I initially think about Bambu that I hear people regularly talking about, and I don't think it's necessarily those three that keep people coming back and buying these year over year. But those three really have to do with the speed of these 3D printers. 2.5 years ago, 3D printers weren't printing this fast, and now every 3D printer that comes out is printing as fast, if not trying to print faster than these Bambu Lab 3D printers. The other is just how easy these 3D printers are to get up and running. Just a few years ago, it was a multi-step process to get printers assembled and up and printing, or it could be even a full day-long build for you to actually build a 3D printer and then have to have it, refined before you could start printing. These, you basically take out of the box, remove a few screws, you might attach a screen, and then you can start 3D printing. And the last obvious one to me is the pricing. They've sort of taken the Goldilocks approach of pricing for their 3D printers. They're not the most expensive. They're not the Prusas out there, which can be kind of shocking when you look at the pricing, and they're not the cheapest. So you can pay a little bit more than those other guys and get a really awesome experience right out of the box and get amazing 3D prints. But those are the three obvious ones that I think more or less everyone talks about. These are the other ones that I really want to focus on that I think the other 3D printing brands are just kind of missing the point of that everyone else is shouting about. Now, honestly, this first one is probably the most important, which is why I have it at the very start here. So I'm hoping some of the brands that might end up watching this actually hear this request. And it's, we want print profiles that are actually dialed in for the specific 3D printer that we're buying. Bambu Lab has done an absolutely amazing job of providing a dozens upon dozens of print profiles that are going to be dialed in for each of these specific 3D printers for a variety of different nozzle sizes. So whether it's using their filaments or generic filaments or different brands of filaments, there are print profiles created for these 3D printers that make it print so incredibly well and just so easy to use when it comes to actually slicing any models. And there are so many 3D printers that are coming out to this day that are missing profiles, and I don't understand it. Why are there brands that also make their own filaments that are not including filament profiles for their own filaments for their new 3D printers? It's mind-boggling to me that they're not including this basic set of testing information that they could easily run on their own. Take a person, I don't know, find an intern even, and have them create 3D profiles for your different filaments for your 3D printers. It's honestly would go a huge, long way if you even provided updates to your existing lineup if you started testing and rolling out these filament profiles. Another one related to filament profiles are your custom slicers are not good. I don't know what you're thinking. Like, I see what you're trying to do. You're trying to imitate what Bambu did or what Prusa's done with their own slicer, which again are all copies of a slicer of a slicer of a slicer. And then now we have Orca Slicer, which is arguably, in my opinion, the best out of all of them. So now you're creating your own customized slicer for your users, and a lot of times it doesn't even work well. I'm not sure how you're fumbling so bad with your own custom slicer. And in some cases, you don't even have Mac versions created for those, or they're multiple iterations behind, or clearly you haven't tested those slicers at all. It's like there's bugs in the slicers as soon as you release them, or the controls don't work correctly, or they're just wildly different. I don't understand the thought process. I get what you're trying to do. You want to make a seamless experience for a customer that might be brand new to 3D printing. So they buy your 3D printer and then right there they can install your custom slicer. Well, here's an idea. Just take Orca Slicer, do whatever you need to do to license that, slap your color on there and slap your logo on there, and then put in your printer and its profiles and have that loaded up. The standard Orca Slicer. You don't have to change anything. You don't have to reposition menus, hide things. You're just making it harder on yourself, and I don't understand why. This isn't a call out of any specific brand. It is every brand that is rolling out their own custom slicers. typically they're not working very well. I'm telling you, just copy Orca Slicer, change the color, put your logo in there, and call it a day and have it work with your 3D printer. And obviously there's some caveats there to you creating your own custom color system here for filaments for your 3D printers or other unique features that you might have. However, work with Orca and have that built into the core slicer versus trying to develop it on your own. You're not software developers. It's clear you're not. Your specialty is making 3D printers. Focus on that. Have Orca team do what they need to do and just reskin it. Right along the same line of the custom slicers and profiles is, are you actually testing your 3D printers before you're sending them out? I'm sure you're printing like benchy after benchy after benchy, and oh, it looks great. It's printing great. Are you trying to print anything besides a benchy? Have you tried printing with supports with your 3D printer? Have you tried using tree supports? Have you tried using grid supports? Have you tried using the snug supports? How about the tolerance setting of removing those supports? Why aren't you testing these things and refining the print profiles and just the overall experience before releasing this? If you just spent a day actually running 3D prints and trying to slice things with your printers, you'd run into some of the exact same things that we run into when we get your 3D printers and are trying to print things on them. Also, when it comes to actually testing, and it comes to fixing things, when you roll out firmware updates, can you please include release notes? Some of the brands out there have gotten much better at providing release notes with their firmwares, or there's release notes and change notes on their actual firmware pages. But still, it needs a little bit more work, or have some visuals to go along with what actually changed, not just line items, so that people actually understand what you've changed either in the printer or in your slicers to make things better. Another one that I think is wildly important in why Bambu is continued to be as popular as it has been is because they offer just about every spare part imaginable. So if something does break or go wrong, you can easily get a hold of it and order it and have it replaced on your 3D printer. And there's also guides on how to actually replace those parts for each of those. It's not like I have to go on AliExpress and try and find a part and see if it's actually going to work with this 3D printer and then buy that and have it shipped and wait 3 weeks for it to ship to me. No, it's all relatively quick and easy to do with these BambuLab 3D printers, and that's why continuously people are buying up these machines year over year now, because they're easy to maintain and work with. And it's not saying that these 3D printers are perfect. Look, this is my A1 here, and this part just broke the other week, but guess what? I've ordered a replacement part directly off of Bambu's site, and it should be here in the next day or so, and I'll be able to follow a guide to replace this. These 3D printers are perfect. They're machines. Things will break down on them. Heck, I have a friend that ordered a P1S, their very first BambuLab 3D printer, and it did not work properly. And they struggled to work with BambuLab support, but they were able to buy the replacement parts that they needed to actually get it back up and running. I also have a few other random ones here that I just wanted to call out that I've been calling out for years now. I feel like just because BambuLab does something doesn't mean you also have to do something. Spool holders on the back of these 3D printers are a horrible idea. Not everyone runs an AMS unit or a multicolor system. Stop putting your spool holders on the back of your 3D printers. Just because Bambu did doesn't mean you have to. Oh, they have a poop chute in the back of their 3D printer. We should also put a poop chute in the back of the 3D printer. Why don't you put it on the side of the 3D printer instead, so it comes out on the side versus having to go and come out with some solution to catch the poop on behind of the printer? I don't understand that. Also, when it comes to the multicolor systems here, everyone that's now producing your own multicolor system, why are we still sticking with the 4 color options that BambuLab originated with? Why aren't, like, I'm surprised someone's not like, oh, here's a 6 spool system here, or here's one that can fit a wider variety of spools, or here's one we figured out a way to better handle cardboard spools. I don't know. Innovate some things here. You don't have to directly copy what BambuLab's done. I know it's the easy thing, but there's some innovation that you could do that honestly would go a really long way with standing out from the other competition. Last one is mobile apps. If you are going to do a mobile app, please, for the love of everything, hire an actual mobile app team that knows what they're doing and a UI UX person, because there are some horrendous mobile apps for 3D printers out there that are just cluttered with garbage. does not make me want to use your mobile app at all. Like at all. I mean, at bare minimum, give me the access to view a camera and see my notifications from my 3D printer of something like it's ran out of filament or the print job is done. That's all I really need to see. Oh, and you know who did that really well was my MakerBot Mini, which was my very first 3D printer that I bought back in 2015. Yeah. And since it's been over a year since Bambu Labs released a new 3D printer, I figured I'd just give my hat or idea of what they might possibly be working on. I have zero idea. I haven't talked to Bambu Lab in like, I don't know, since the A1 came out, or maybe since they sent me some PET G when they released a new PET G brand or series of filament there. I honestly have no idea what they're working on, but we all know that they're going to be working on a larger Core XY, I would assume 3D printer, because everyone has been clamoring for a larger printer from Bambu Lab. So I'm assuming we're going to see that. I think they've even confirmed that we're going to see that here or have it announced in the early part of this year. So I'm very excited to hear about that. But the other thing that we've seen leaks on, or potentially, I have no idea if it's real or not, is a possible new tool changer system. It's not a tool changer. It's like a multi-print head on there. So potentially it sounds like has two print heads. So it could be printing with one and then unloading and loading the next filament in the next print head. So while it's printing, it's going to save you time. I don't know. Honestly, the multicolor system with this just wastes a ton of material. So I'm hoping they're finding a way to reduce that, because the Prusa with the XL and their multicolor system, that is like amazing. But obviously that's 5 different print heads that it's going to be working with. So I don't know if they're going to be trying to implement that into these machines. We're going to have to kind of wait and see, but it would be really cool to see what they end up coming with. That's going to help reduce some of the waste. I'm honestly hoping it reduces a lot of the waste that comes with multicolor 3D printing. But here's where I think things are going to get really exciting this year, because it has been 2.5 years since the original X1 series released. And I think the P1P initially released later that same year. So I think we might end up seeing a refreshed version of these 3D printers with some improvements made to them. And on top of that, I think what we might end up seeing is that Bambu takes the Prusa route of providing you upgrade kit options for existing X1 Carbon or P1P, P1S owners, or maybe even, I'm not sure if the A series is going to get an update or not. I feel like they'd really be focusing on this year on the P1P, P1S, as well as the X1 series of potential new upgrades. I mean, heck, there are so many upgrades and updates that third-party vendors have started creating for some of these machines to make them just run and easier to work with. On the P series, I despise this little screen that you have to work with here. I'd rather have the click wheel than this. Honestly, this thing on the A1 is so much better, and I'm surprised Bambu hasn't already put out some kind of an updated screen option that you could replace on the P1P and the P1S. But here's my big prediction for this year in Bambu Lab. It's not the larger 3D printer. It's not a new tool changer. It's not even updates to the existing 3D printers. I think the big surprise that we're going to see from Bambu Lab is them moving into the resin 3D printing marketplace and completely invigorating or bringing some fresh ideas to resin 3D printers and making them easier to work with. And again, doing exactly what they did on the FDM market, creating a ton of already pre-built out profiles for lots of different resins that they're going to offer, as well as different brands of resins that are very popular that are going to work with their resin 3D printers. I think that in itself could lend itself to be a huge win in the resin 3D printing marketplace, but just making things like getting replacement parts or finding an easier way to replace the FEP sheets on your resin 3D printers could be so cool. And I would love to see Bambu Lab toss their hat into it and figure out how they can make better resin 3D printers for everybody. And again, the whole thing with this is competition is great. It works out amazing for us, the consumers, because it's going to drive so many different options and innovations when it comes to these 3D printers. I just wanted to rant and get this off my chest. This has been bothering me, I think, for like the last 6 months now. I've been texting with Pooch, Repcord, and a few others about these whole things here. So hopefully it didn't put anybody off here. I didn't really show off or print anything here. I've got a whole bunch of new videos coming here soon on some of these new 3D printers. This isn't specifically about these new 3D printers. It's just in general working with a bunch of the other 3D printers and some of the pains that I feel like these brands just not like they're not listening to, they're not understanding. It's not just about speed and cheap 3D printers. We want things like print profiles that are actually dialed in for that 3D printer. And it's not just a generic PLA and a generic PETG. I want like 15 different print profiles that I can choose from. Is that so much to ask? Hey, I want to say thank you to all my Patreon supporters for your continued support. If you're interested in helping support this channel, you'll find more information about my Patreon. But let me know what you think about BambuLab and the current state of 3D printers and what I might have missed that you think is also important for some of these other brands to hear about. Hey, thanks so much for watching. I'm glad I got this off my chest, and I'll see you next time. Bye now.